Hello friends, the towel is back. Mom is clean, this is important. The dishes, lots of dishes going on right now. Travis has taken a big load of kids to pick up an online order I had for animal feed at Tractor Supply. Very exciting, and I'm sure they'll stop and get an ice cream cone or something fun along the way. Sunday afternoon now, and I need to work. I need to do a bunch of computer work from my large family table community membership ladies. And I also have a big hankering to do a whole lot of canning. I don't know, do you ever just get this overwhelming desire to get your pressure canners going? I do. I'm in that, I have crossed over. So just all day I've been like, oh, I just want to raw pack and can that ground beef and that chicken. So that's what I'm doing. So with pressure canning, I have read from all the appropriate websites, and I have learned and remembered that you've got to stay with your canning when you get your pressure canners going. And I thought, how perfect, because I need to sit down here. I'm probably going to be working for 6 or 8 hours. So I feel like, well, while I'm working, I could get my pressure canners going. I could babysit them and sit here and work at the kitchen counter, and then as things get done, I'll just be right here and I can switch them out. It's kind of like, how many quarts of ground beef and chicken can I get done in one evening? Now I'm rinsing out my canners here because it has been a few weeks. I'm not going to do all these dishes behind me though, because that would be no fun. I want to do the fun things. I want to just get canning, and then really if I was having like some dedicated computer work time, I would be back in my bedroom, sitting in my bed with my feet up. But this is a way to multitask. So I'm washing off my canners with some hot soapy water because it has been a couple weeks since I've done any canning. I've also seen where the local orchard selling bushels of peaches. All kinds of good things are in the works, so I was thinking, oh, maybe this week I could get some peach canning going down. So with the meat, I have about 15 pounds of ground beef left over, a little combination of some recipes I thought I was doing I hadn't got to yet. And that time kind of came and went, and I ended up doing something else. I also have 10 to 20 pounds of chicken, and so I could throw it in the freezer, but I have those meat birds coming up that I'm going to start processing. You may have seen my recent update where, because I can't get another full-size freezer, I got 3 small freezers that equal the same amount. It ends up being the same price as my other freezers are 20 cubic feet, and my 3 new ones equal 21 cubic feet. So I don't want to do all my meat in the freezers though. I need freezers because of the amount of food I process for my family and for YouTube and for meal plans, and like I have coming up, or it's already come, it just depends on when this video comes out. I'm doing a Mission Meals fundraiser for a good friend of mine who's going to work at 5 orphanages in Haiti coming up. I needed a 3rd full-size freezer, but I don't want all my meat to be in the freezer. I want a lot of meat canned for future use that's not dependent on electricity. Now, of course, I have generators, so in theory, everything should be fine in the freezers. What if there's a situation where it wasn't, or something malfunctioned, or I don't know, fill in the blank? I would also like meat in jars on my canning shelf. So, all that to say, we are gonna cook up this meat that I already have defrosted, and I do still have other meat that I want to defrost to make more room in my freezers. I think I added up between my meat birds and my turkeys, I believe I'm gonna have about 750 pounds of poultry meat. Just real quick here, that's more than like a steer, you know, that's more than a full-size cow. I believe when I bought a full cow, it ended up being 500 and some odd pounds. So it's like a cow and a half worth of meat between the chickens and the turkeys. So that's why I'm like, I'm gonna can some of that too. And I will freeze a bunch as well. But definitely wanna can it. And so folks have asked, why are you canning meat that's already in your refrigerators and freezers? Well, I'm doing it for practice, and I'm doing it for fun, and I'm doing it just to make more room. And fill it up again. And these are both my Presto pressure canners. I believe they were 24 quart. I will link below all my links in reference to my canning equipment. I also have my All-American canner, but my Prestos were right here in my kitchen looking at me. And I've had a good experience with these so far. Actually, earlier today, Naomi carried down a lot of things I had canned that were still up here around our fireplace. She went ahead and carried those down, got them on the food storage shelves. I went ahead and opened up some more jars. I put them through the dishwasher. Gilbrook Farm has a lot of different canning videos and super helpful and resourceful. Earlier today, when I was feeling all my canning feels, I was watching her video on canning ground meat. And I believe in hers, she did a hot pack method. I'll link that video down below. But even in my book that came with my Presto canners here, they have raw pack method listed as an option as well. So it's just nice to have choices. I'll tell you in my videos some amazing tips. Sorry, committed to the towel here. Just really great tips that come through in the comments. Several of you suggested, and I had not thought of this, so thank you. And those of you new to canning, to save the boxes that the jars come in. It's just easier to handle and to get into storage and to set on the shelves. It's not as pretty though. Like my friend over on The Needy Homesteader, she's got all her jars showing. So I'm sure eventually I'll just have jars, but I like the idea of protecting them. I'm gonna try to just put everything back in the boxes, slide the box on the shelf, and like it. Also, I'm always impressed with all the directions. Very helpful on the bottom of the boxes. So that's why I'm just gonna stack up these boxes here and reuse those. Someone asked me if I was preparing for the zombie apocalypse and why I have so many jars and I'm doing so many food buckets and such. It has just always been in my head to be as prepared as possible in life and to do longer term food storage. I have pretty much, let me get my years straight now here, for 18 to 15 years, I'm thinking we've been married almost 22 years now, but I have been able to get my family to the point where we always have 3 to 6 months of food available. I mean, of course, you get to month 3, it may not be the food you want, it's still food. And I believe looking around at what I commonly have on hand, we could go 6 months. I would love to get to the point where we have up to 2 years of food storage. And then what the smart people do who are doing what I want to do is they go through and rotate through that food storage. So recently I did a video with food storage buckets. I have another video on that coming out. With the food storage buckets, they have up to a 30-year shelf life. Now, I'm not planning to put 20 pounds of white rice in a bucket and wait 28 years to pop it open and use it. What a friend of mine who's an expert in long-term food storage told me is that you want to use your buckets, especially when you're starting out like me, you want to rotate through them every 2 years or so you can see if you have any issues in your food storage. I am probably honestly going to use some of mine, just a few, like within 6 months or so. I have more buckets that I'm getting ready to do. I don't know, I'm old and it seems fun to me. So this is 15 pounds of hamburger and right at 12 to 15 pounds, we'll tell you exactly here in a minute, of chicken. Okay, here's what I'm finding between my Presto pressure canner and cooker book that my pressure canners came with and my current up-to-date edition 2020 Ball Blue Book Guide to Preserving, and then Google, is that it looks like, even though I've seen some videos of people raw packing ground beef, and I'm just saying I'm not an expert. This is a vlog where I'm just sharing with you the journey. I've seen some videos of people raw packing it. What I am personally reading is that the ground beef should be cooked a little at least ahead of time to help remove air bubbles and such from the tissues, was the line I had just read. And I believe that was from a site called Prepared Housewives. canning beef, put a cow in a jar. I'll link that article below. She's got some good pictures there. Anyway, it looks like between Ball and the National Center for Food Preservation and my Presto book, it looks like I can raw pack the chicken breast. Now, when I say raw pack, I'm putting it in there without doing any pre-cooking, but the canning process is going to cook up this chicken and make a broth within. I don't even have to put any liquid in it. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. But for the ground beef, I'm going to have to cook that for a little bit first. And what I might do, I might get the ground beef going in my big pressure cooker and get the chicken canned and cooking. That might be the way I do it. Okay, so in the Presto pressure canner book, it says to pack chicken, duck, goose, or turkey, which I'll be doing all these coming up. It says for raw pack, fill jars loosely with raw meat pieces, leaving about 1 1/4 inches of headspace. Do not add liquid. Remove air bubbles, prepare jar rims, adjust the 2 pieces. And then for quarts, with bone, it would be 75 minutes. Without bone, it's going to be 90 minutes, and I need that at 11 pounds of pressure. Yeah, so this is what I'm going with, and then I will just double check that. It looks like Presto gets its information from National Center for Food Preservation, and that was also telling me to cook the ground beef at least a little bit before I pack it. Other chunks of meat, it would be fine to raw pack. Okay, chicken. Yeah, same info. It says raw pack as a teaspoon of salt per quart if desired. Fill jars loosely with raw meat pieces, leaving 1 1/4 inch headspace. Do not add liquid. It's the same here, same time. Also the same directions for rabbit. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to get going in reference to these Presto canners, it says place 3 quarts of hot water and the canning rack in the canner. To prevent water stains on jars, add 2 tablespoons of white vinegar to the water. Always use the canning rack, as jars may break if set directly on the canner. Note, 3 quarts of water are needed regardless of how many jars are being canned. I'm gonna get that going, and then we'll pack the jars with the chicken, and then we'll get the meat cooking. And I believe I've heard several times that you can get about 2 pounds of meat in a quart jar. And it's a pound in a pint, which that all makes sense. $14 pounds of chicken meat in there now. Here's the next step that I was trying to get out of my mouth. It says using a relatively high heat setting, heat the pressure canner until a steady flow of steam can be seen, heard, or felt coming from the vent pipe. Exhaust air from the canner for 10 minutes by allowing steam to flow through the vent pipe. So I'm gonna set my watch timer once it starts coming out. Reduce heat if necessary to maintain a steady to moderate flow of steam. The next step is place the pressure regulator on the vent pipe. So then we'll be rolling through all that. But step 1, get this thing moving. Okay, wasn't sure which way I was gonna do this ground beef. Contemplated my big pressure cooker here. Decided I'm just gonna use my cast iron Dutch oven. It's a Lodge brand. Sometimes folks ask me what brand of cast iron to get, and that is what I do. I think I can get about 10 pounds in here. Okay, I think I can start my timer now on this other pot. I'm hearing it rattling now. So in 10 minutes, we will put that pressure gauge on. Okay, putting my little lid on. And now we'll watch that pressure gauge rise up. Once we get to pressure, I gotta go grab my little booklet and read our times again real quick. 11 pounds of pressure, without bone, 90 minutes in the quart jar. So we're just waiting for this pressure to come up, and once it gets there, then I will start a timer for 90 minutes. So like I say, once I get stuff in the canner, if I can sit here at my countertop and do my laptop work, I feel like it's a good use of multitasking time. I should probably pour this ground beef through my colander and get another bowl set up. Why am I doing it this way? I don't know. I just found myself here hoping to scoop it out with a slotted spoon because I have 5 more pounds I want to cook up. Then I need to get a pot of water boiling to use since we're now doing hot packing, and then get the other pressure canner going. Now I obviously need to move some things off my counter here. It takes a bit for it to come to pressure. It's only at like 4 pounds of pressure now. But I don't want to get, I've got it on medium high. And what can happen is if I put my canners, this is what I've learned about my little canners already, and this particular stove I'm cooking on at the moment, if I put it on high, it's gonna jack the pressure up really high. Then I'm gonna have to play the turning down game a lot. So then I'm gonna turn it down to try to maintain the right pressure. And I just would rather it take a little longer and maybe me not have to mess with the temperature too terribly much. So far, that has been the most time-consuming part of canning, is just getting and keeping the temperature proper. Okay, we are at 11 pounds of pressure mark. I'm going to make a timer, 1 hour and 30 minutes on my watch. There we go. Okay, do your thing, chicken. Real wild hair here. Let me pretend there's a towel on my head. We got lots going on. I turned the power off. Pressure is slowly coming down. Then we'll do the next thing. And I need to pay attention to this ground beef now. Travis grilled. Travis and the kids are eating dinner. Here behind me, got this chicken done. It has come down to 0 pressure. I'm gonna take this lid off, and then we're gonna work on getting this ground beef done. I've been working, I'll show you my little working mom setup. You'll get a kick out of it. But this is what I do for fun on a Sunday evening. Okay, so here's my setup. You know, I can't sit up high on these tall chairs and be hunched over. With my neck and my past neck injuries, we all remember those adventures. So I used 2 of these ball canning boxes turned upside down. I've made myself a little elevated desk. I do have some proper laptop holders that could go on the countertop and everything. I just didn't want to go get them. I'm using boxes instead. Yay. So here we go. Here's our 7 quart jars for the ground beef, and then I also have a pot with some hot water. So we're gonna get this packed up now. Alrighty, so here are the 7 quarts of ground beef. I'm gonna get these in the pressure cooker now. Just got that lid on. Now we're gonna wait till this starts shooting out steam for 10 minutes and do it all again. Chicken coming on out of the pressure cooker. So here's all the raw packed chicken. You can see it's still boiling. Still boiling in there. That's it. Now I'm just gonna leave it here and do the next thing. Now I've got a little bit of ground beef left. And I think I had 1 jar of chicken that wouldn't fit into this first batch. So I'm just gonna see if I can, I'm gonna run a load basically that's probably not full with the 7-quart jars, which I don't want to do, but it's just the way it is. For the regular mouth jars, definitely need a funnel. I can get away with getting a big slotted spoon in the wide mouth jars. I am becoming partial to wide mouth. We have something in common. We both have wide mouths. So I just set my timer for 10 minutes for this one because now steam's coming up and I hear good boiling going on. Good morning, friends. Just got my first good and holy cup of coffee. Couldn't move my mouth anymore last night, but here's the ground beef jars and how those turned out. And then here are all the canned chicken jars. Okay, I'm pretty sure when I looked in the camera, I had peanut butter on my face. Full force life going on. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. So if you look down in the description below, I will have the links on how to properly raw can chicken, and again, how to can ground beef. This is my second time canning ground beef. I was really hopeful on doing it the raw pack method, and again, I have seen some videos on that, but even girlfriend over on Gilbrook Farm, she cooked her ground beef first, and everything that I read between Ball Canning and the National Center for Home Food Preservation said to cook the ground beef first. So, I don't know. That's all I got. Because I'm no expert, but I'm doing it. That's my favorite way to do things. So, mountain of dishes, left over from last night. Kids playing games, having a good old time. Gonna go out now and film myself doing these farm chores. I'm gonna do morning farm chores and evening farm chores. Let me know, baby Sharky, Benjamin's singing. Anyway, let me know if you'd like to see a farm chore video, because I'm filming it. Talk to you later, bye-bye.